we're following along on our sew along. It's week 2 for Wintery Mix. Can't wait to show you. We've got a special guest coming in here in a little while. She's out at the quilting machine right now, but she will be coming in a little bit. But before we do that, I think I am just going to jump over to the seat next to us and let's talk about our sew along and where we are with it, because we're working on our first block. Are we here?
Yes.
Are we here? Oh,
Yes,
cool.
we are.
Okay, great. So our first block is a mitten block. And Joe, I'm just going to move this pattern up for people to see it. I'm not sure how much they can see right now, but some of these are small. Thing to note about the mitten block is that they go in 2 different directions. You're making 2 blocks, right? A pair of mittens. The main part is exactly the same. It's just the thumb that's different. The directions from Chris, who designed this pattern, are really good, and she shows you left thumb, right thumb, left thumb, right thumb to make those 2 pieces. Then everything else is the same. And I am going to show you what Chris has you do is the classic draw your line on the squares and then stitch on the line and cut off the extra. That is perfectly fine. That's a great way to do it. I'm going to show you the way that I did it. But first of all, let's talk about our cutting. How did you guys do with your cutting? If you've been doing the cutting, you're like me. This is what your blocks all look like, ready to go now. Pine tree block, block 4, all cut. Here we go. Snowflake block, woven heart block, everything ready to go. And remember, we've got these kits still in 2 colorways. The blue and orange kit, which is the Syracuse version that I'm going to be demonstrating on today. And then we have the Wintery Mix that I believe is going to be making a guest appearance shortly. Okay, but let's take a look here. So here I had all organized. If you order a kit from us, it will come with labels to keep you all organized. So as you cut, you're just going to stick your labels on your different pieces and put them in the bag. Thank you, Jen, for making these labels. And thank you, Karen, for helping me get this all organized. Let's take a look at our mitten block. Now, first of all, this is the main part of the mitten, and the thumb pieces are over here, and the bottom is the cuff. Now, when we were cutting, I mentioned to you last week to go ahead and cut it how it says, match up the colors that we have given you. But if you get there and you don't like what you have cut, there are lots of scraps to this, so you can recut. And what I'm talking about specifically here is the cuff to the mitten. In the directions, it gave you 2 oranges, but I thought, what if my mitten cuff was blue? Or what if my mitten cuff was white? What do you think, Jen and Jolene? What color?
I like the blue.
You like the blue? Okay.
Very SU.
Very SU. Okay. I agree. Let's just do that. Let's just switch that out. And look how easy it is to take the labels and switch them right out. So you can do that too, and maybe you'd rather have the white. Or maybe you say, no, I really just want the orange mittens. You can do any. There's plenty of fabric in your kit to cut little extras of things. So let's look at our sections here. This is the section for the cuff. Real easy. The other nice thing about the directions is she tells you which way to press everything. Now, what I want to show you are those blocks. I'm leaving this on so we can kind of see where it goes. Those blocks that normally we would be drawing that line on here and cutting this off for the top of the mittens, or rather sewing on the line and then cutting it off. But what I like to use, and many of you already know this, is the folded corner clipper from Creative Grits. And many of you know this, and many of you already own this because what a fabulous tool. If you do own it, pull it out for this project or any other project that you need to do what's referred to as a folded corner. So instead of me drawing a line, sewing on the line, and cutting off, I'm going to start with the cutting off, just like this. You can see how nicely this lines up. So think about where you would draw a line. That's where the line for the folded clipper would go. So you know that's always going to be right because you think about, okay, I'm going to do that on there. Let me just cut this one off here. So now when I sew that 1/4 inch, right here you can see where the 1/4 inch lines up really well for me, kind of like a puzzle piece. There's no more trimming and this is going to come out very nicely. But here's our dilemma. I can't do it on this side. I want it to go this way. So it needs to go like this, and this would be very challenging for me to cut. I'm like, okay, that's great. I'll just turn the whole thing around. Yes, I'm going to do that. But then I got confused as to which corner I was working on. So what I did was, I knew that my line would go here and I would be cutting off this piece. So I just put a little X there for myself. Now I know when I turn this, it's easy for me to see what corner is going to get cut off. All right. Now, another nice tool that I absolutely love, and if I'm only doing a couple blocks, it may not be a big deal, but I do like it to prep when, especially when I'm doing a whole lot, is the Acorn Precision Piecing seam-align glue. And all it is a tiny little dots of glue that I put on here. You can't see them. I bet you can't even see them, can you?
Nope.
Do they show up, Joe?
Nope.
Nope. Not only are they see-through, or invisible, let me put it that way, they don't have any smell to them. I'm just going to line this right up exactly the way that I want it. There we go. And that's nice because now I'm just going to take my iron, and just by putting my iron on there, I get those exactly where I want them to be. And I mean exactly. And they're not going to come off. Look, oops, I forgot to take my label off.
No.
Well, you know what? That's not really a problem.
Ta-da.
Ta-da, because even though I glued it, it easily comes right off. And then I will just put my glue dots back on there and glues back. So if you put something in the wrong place, it's really a basting glue. It holds things as you take them to sew. So think about this not just for piecing, but for trims. Lots of handy things. I know we've got lots of people who love the glue as much as I do. All right, so this now, I don't even have to worry about it. I can just go toss this over onto my sewing machine and throw it in a pile and get a bunch of other things ready. For example, I can now put my side pieces on my cuff, and I could put those, I could glue these right in place too, and then they would be ready to sew. I could get a lot of things ready. What I want to talk about is the thumb piece, because remember in the pattern it said left thumb and right thumb. Well, we are going to pay attention to that. And again, this piece would normally have a line drawn on it, right? And you would sew on that line. I'm going to come over here to my cutting mat. But instead, I am going to cut it off with my folded corner clipper. And I know this is where my line would be. I checked my pattern. But if I do that, again, this is really awkward for me. So remember me, so I don't lose track of where I'm at. I just put a little X on there. Now I can turn that without getting all confused and cut this piece off. All right, and there's another little piece that goes on the top here. And actually, I went ahead with some of my scraps and sewed one here. So here's that bottom piece that I already sewed and pressed. And now there's another little one on top. Again, I cut it first and then sewed it, working with a lot of gray here. And now I would press that, except I pressed it wrong the first time. I went back and Chris's directions tell you to press toward the orange. So if I'm pressing toward the orange, it's going to be this way. Kind of seemed a little counterintuitive, but then when I looked at my finished block, it was really nice, and the colors kind of popped up. So let's take a look at my finished block, and then we can talk about that too. So here we go. How cute is this? Yes, you girls, I don't even know that you knew that, but I also picked the blue. Out of all the colors, we picked the same one. So the blue really did look nicest. Now the mitten seems a little pointy, but there'll be more blocks then that will take another 1/4 inch off the top, so it won't be as pointy on the top after you sew the rest of it together. The block finishes at 9, so unfinished as it is right now is 9.5. It was super fast to put together, literally, because my cutting was already done. It went together really well, and now I've got the other pieces ready to go here, ready to take to my sewing machine, and with the other mitten going in the other direction. So this is what you're going to do this week if you're doing the sew along with us. Of course, I don't mind if you move ahead. That will be fine. I'm going to slide back over here, Joe. And come on in. I said we have a special guest today. Our special guest is Cindy. And Cindy, you have something great to show us.
I do. Hot off the presses, so to speak.
Hot off the presses, hot off the quilting
Hot
machine.
off the
Joe, am I
Amara.
still in the camera? Okay.
Mostly.
Mostly, she says. So check it out. This is the second color version of Wintry Mix. Cindy, we were just doing the mittens.
Okay.
And let's see where the mittens are in this one.
There's 2 here.
Yeah, that's all. There's
Is that
just
all there
two.
is, the
Yeah.
2?
Let's pull it up so we can see the mittens. How cute! There's little coffee mug fabrics in the Wintry Mix in the Winter Cheer fabrics. These really come out adorable. And Karen did this quilt, and you just quilted it. In fact, you just took it off.
I just finished it.
I see you've got snowflakes quilted in here.
Yes. This is a design that comes as one of the designs when you purchase Pro Stitcher. This comes with the machine.
So
This is technically considered a border design, but when I repeated it, it becomes an edge to edge.
So you repeated it row by row by row?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
really like it.
And we chose it's a Fantastico thread, so it's a 40 weight, so the stitching will give it, the texture will stand out more.
Yes.
And we chose a really pretty light gray, like a light silvery color, so it's got a little sheen
so
to it.
wintry.
Yeah.
Can you
So-
do me a favor?
Yes.
Right under your elbow are the 2 Wintry Mix kit options for people.
Yes.
Just because we've already started our sew along doesn't mean that people can't join in.
Exactly.
And so they have different ways of doing it. First of all, if they just want to buy the pattern and use their own fabrics,
Yeah.
we've got that too. You can buy just the pattern. If you love the different versions that we have, now these kits do not include background fabric, and people have picked different things for their background. Not everyone wants the winter sky gray like we did.
I know, but we're so used to seeing it,
Yes.
aren't we? Like we
Yeah,
are today.
yeah. Some people
Yesterday it
have
was nice
chosen
and blue.
different colors.
Not today.
Different colors for their background. But so you have that option. The kits are $62. Everything you need for the blocks. Like I said, there's plenty. If you want to switch colors up a little bit, you can do that. I put notes in that one that Karen did for this one, only because, as you noticed in this mug block, there's stripes. And the stripes are really cute, and they look really cute in the hat and in other parts of it too. But you got to pay attention to cutting because of the stripes.
Yeah.
So Karen made some notes.
We had somebody yesterday who said she's going to experiment with this top part
Oh.
to try to make it look like marshmallows.
Oh, that's cute.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah, that's
Barb?
really cute. Like make it a little more rounder, maybe. You
Yeah,
could do
maybe
that.
if you did,
Folded corners.
if you just added your another rectangle on the top of that,
Yeah.
and you could just stitch like the top corner across,
I'll send you
even if you
ideas.
did little squares.
I'll send you
And
got ideas.
like you would do for a half square triangle, where you
Yeah.
lay it on the top and you do
Right.
the diagonal, but just do it up closer to the corner. It
Just
would
to
give
give it a
like
little
that
rounder,
rounded look.
little bit
Yeah.
rounder look.
So there you go, Barb. That's how you need to do it.
So, thank you, Cindy.